Alright guys, Scump here back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday so far, and today we're going to talk about the Toronto Ultra. Yesterday they officially confirmed their starting four for the 2021 season. An interesting timing as well, because just the day before that, Crimsix had discussed in quite some length on the Eavesdrop podcast with Hector Rodriguez some of his issues with the Toronto Ultra as an organisation, some of the problems they have, but also why some of these players may have been re-signed. So an interesting discussion we're going to have today. How will this team fare against the rest of the league? A lot of powerhouse squads have been put together over the first few weeks of Rostermania. Can Toronto compete? Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for doing that. Before we get into things, wanted to mention this from Frosty, as Cronus CDL Intel points out yesterday. Credit to Rush FPS. Frosty will be playing in Challengers next season in addition to playing in Halo for the Sentinels, which is pretty remarkable. I wonder if Sentinels will try and put together a CDL Challenger squad, but he does say in this clip that he's not planning to play with his Halo guys in the CDL Challenger side as well. Definitely kind of says that if he did get an offer in the CDL, he would have been picked up, right? And maybe Toronto could have considered this option, but their team is going to be effectively last season's squad minus Classic, as we will look at in a second. Certainly an interesting discussion though to keep your eyes on as we go forward. Wanted to point this out as well, that came out from Round 11 stats yesterday. It's like an analytical breakdown of Dallas Empire's Search and Destroy retakes on Gunrunner. They were the best retaking team in the entire game. If you guys are into your analytical stuff and want to have a look at exactly what it took them to become the best retaking team in the game, this is some really cool content I thought, and I'll leave a link down below for you guys to check out, and any feedback I'm sure Round 11 stats would greatly appreciate hearing. Let's get on to things then. So not too long ago, Toronto Ultra confirmed that Cammy MVP, the Scottish marksman, is back for the 2021 season. They also effectively confirmed Kleenex was back as well. As Crimsix will go on to discuss, this kind of makes sense. These guys were probably on relatively low salaried contracts, given that they came in effectively as amateurs right from last season's play. Cammy was in the league for a while on units last season, but Kleenex really only had his come up at Black Ops 4, the World Championships, when he was on Singularity, right? So yeah, they got picked up, I imagine, on relatively low salary contracts. They were fantastic players, to be honest, throughout the Modern Warfare season that we'll go on to in a second, and they decided to extend them for the next season. Makes perfect sense. The question mark has been, will they look to extend the other guys on the team? Did they look to do some contract negotiations with Methods and Bants? And Classic was also there, but they released Classic a long time ago. But the interesting part of this is it comes amid some pretty bad PR, to be honest, for the Ultra over the last couple of weeks. We've seen from Brack, we've seen from Looney, we've seen from Classic as well, the fact that they won't allow you to play on your team or even scrim, even in like the B team, even scrim in like Toronto Black or whatever they were calling their like second team, I suppose. They wouldn't even allow you to play if you weren't based in Toronto, and well, not exactly ideal from a number of perspectives, and Crimsix, as we'll look at in a second, isn't too happy with how they were handling the entire situation on their end, and I imagine neither were the players, right? And the question is, if you have the choice to either like be on Toronto or be on another team, are you going to choose Toronto Ultra right now? Probably not, right? Which leaves them in a difficult position to try and recruit new talent, because, well, as Crimsix will go on to describe, Cammy and Kleenex, he imagines they're going to jump ship as soon as they possibly can from this organisation, but not yet. They're on a 1+1 contract. They've decided to extend them into this new season. Definitely makes sense if they were on a low salary team. Cammy and Kleenex, as I say, two of the best players in the game last season, to be honest, at least like in the top 20 range, I would say, and well, Crim will go on to describe how good he thinks they were in just a second here, but it wasn't just the statistics these guys are putting up. I mean, Cammy, of course, was a very flashy player with the sniper as well, but Kleenex certainly did his job when he joined the team. He definitely had some fantastic maps in his own right, and they actually became the second highest. They had the second best record in the entire league for a few weeks up to champs when he joined the team. And well, as you can see right here, they bring back Methods, they bring back Bant, so it's basically just last year's squad minus Classic now into this 4 versus 4 environment. So Toronto officially confirmed this team, and well, here it is: Kleenex, Methods, Cammy, and Bant. So interesting squad. We'll have a look at this squad in a second, exactly what you guys might expect from this team, but firstly, let's look at what Crimsix has to say about these guys still being on the Ultra, and well, he thinks they're going to jump ship as soon as they possibly can.
Let's just say the whole team was on a leash. Cammy, Kleenex, contract renewed. Why? No one's asking why. Because they were, borderline AMs that just got it picked up on a pro team for probably dirt cheap. Even though that those two players, which I think were honestly incredible.
Yeah,
they were really
good.
They were really good. Yeah. They were really good.
Kleenex too, but Cammy, obviously sniper stood
Yeah,
out.
no, Kleenex would go like, he'd have crazy games. Cammy was what I thought was one of the, I thought at one point it was like me, Clay, Priest, and Cammy. best M4s in the game. If you're Cammy and CleanX, you have another year, superstar year like this. What are their chances of them re-signing with you? If you're Toronto Ultra,
fucking
0.
Why? Because you think they're
because they know they played like really well.
Yeah,
and they know they should be getting a salary increase. But they're not.
But are they on a 2-year contract?
Yeah, that's what everyone is. But I'm saying like at the end of the next year.
Oh, you're saying that those two won't sign with the...
Yeah, there's no shot.
Yeah.
No shot Joe C. caught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? like that's like, there's no shot, and then there's no shot Joe C. caught, which is way up there. But Cammy and CleanX, there's I would be amazed because they deserve an increase more than like a lot of the people that I've seen.
So Toronto had a difficult time, to be honest, at the start of the Modern Warfare season. They had initially Looney, Classic, Cammy, and Metals. Then they swapped in Bance for the London event. Then they swapped out Looney for Metals, and Metals eventually came out of the team once again. Then he was back in, and then CleanX was in. And finally, they put together a team in Methods, Cammy, Bance, CleanX, and Classic that could win events. They did win the Toronto home series. They could have made a run at champs as well. They were very competitive with the Dallas Empire in that series they played at the World Championship. But yeah, they just fall short and end up falling out of the tournament not too far after that. But yeah, definitely a very solid squad. I mean, winning an event is no mean feat, to be honest. This season, there was a lot of great teams out there. The teams they managed to beat as well when they won their own Toronto home series was very impressive indeed. And I think it does make sense. If you had to choose 4 players to keep out of these 5, maybe it is that core 4 on the team. And Cammy and CleanX, as Crimsix was saying, probably extended just because, well, they have a 1+1 contract. They need to keep them on the team. Are they going to try and jump ship as soon as possible? If they do get an opportunity and offers from elsewhere, especially if the league expands next season, I can certainly see Cammy and CleanX getting offers to go to another organization if they, of course, have a good Black Ops Cold War season. And then, well, it might put Toronto in a difficult spot because of the management decisions that have been made this season and some of the frustrations for a number of the players not being able to go home, not being able to go home and see their family, and just some, I suppose, obstinate decision making from the management. A lot of teams, I imagine a lot of players, are looking at Toronto Ultra and thinking, well, in an ideal world, I don't actually want to play for this organization. And with the league expanding next year, it might put Toronto in a pretty difficult spot to acquire new talent. And then, of course, you've got to talk about this season, right? Is this team going to be competitive this season? These, of course, then are the other teams that have been put together so far. These are the 5 that have been confirmed: Abizi, Simp, Celium, Arcides, Hukili, Shotzi, and Crimsix, of course, and the Dallas Empire, Envoy, Scump, Dashy, Formal, and the Minnesota Rocker, the Seattle Surge. Frankly, 4v4 is an absolute gauntlet, right? Because all of these teams could honestly be really, really good on paper. And then you've got the Toronto Ultra with not necessarily the big names. I mean, as I say, Cammy and CleanX, I think, are genuinely 2 of the best players of the entire season. As I say, probably in top 20 range there or thereabouts. Then you've got Methods as the main AR, which is definitely solid. You've got Bance as well, who certainly did his role on the team last season, but not exactly one of the hottest prospects, I suppose, in the community that's going to put up great numbers on a consistent basis. Another question mark is their substitute, that being Insight, that looks like he's going to be joining the team. And well, he's typically been like a main assault rifle tip for Team Singularity and other squads in the past. So question marks as to where exactly he fits onto the team. Typically, you want a player as your substitute who can easily swap out for a number of different players. Like, you know, can swap out for Bance, can swap out for Methods if they need it, right? And it just seems to me that it might be difficult for this squad to quite match the firepower of some of the organizations. And well, the question mark is, what exactly was the glue to Toronto Ultra last season? Was Classic kind of the glue to the team to add that extra element to the squad which helped them compete? And yes, they did win an event, but for the rest of the season, they weren't so competitive. And yes, they finally put together a team that worked to the end. I definitely think this squad can be something of an underdog force. I mean, I respect, of course, the guys from Europe, Cammy from Scotland, Bance from England, CleanX from Denmark. So yeah, really cool to see this squad being put together. But once again, this league is so competitive now, especially in a 4v4 environment. If this team has a good tournament, like let's say all 12 teams are at an event, if they come top 4, like that's a pretty decent result, to be honest, given the situation right now. I think they might well make a grand final at some point. If they do become like a top 6 team in the game, I think that's a relatively good result here for the Ultra. I definitely think they have the potential to do so. But as I say, just so many good teams in the league right now, I can't imagine Toronto are competing for championships on a consistent basis. But very intrigued to hear your thoughts, of course, in the comment section below. Also to mention, Los Angeles Guerrillas teasing the return of 4v4 just around the corner, so they may announce their roster very soon indeed. Brack, of course, over at the Toronto Ultra this past season on the substitute bench, describing how, look, I don't know if people have forgotten or not about Black Ops 4, but I didn't get a chance to prove I'm good in an Infinity Ward COD, and now it is Treyarch season back again, so Brack looking for his options for next season also, and the beta is coming this weekend. Preload, the Black Ops Cold War beta is rolling out to those who pre-order on the PlayStation 4, so I think it's just for this weekend. I believe it starts on like Thursday or something like that, so stay tuned for this one. Tony Flame also describing some of the things that have changed, the next layer of depth in terms of gunsmith stats percentage readouts for attachments in the beta, and he's discussed also a number of changes that are going to be happening to the slide cancelling, the sniping getting nerfed, this type of stuff that we expect to see in the beta this weekend. So that's pretty cool to see, and we'll have to see how some of the other things change. For example, dead silence, as Hitch says, one concern I have coming into Cold War is the lack of silent footsteps perk. Ninja seemed more like a dead silence in Modern Warfare Remastered, which didn't really change too much. Like, yes, it was more silent, but it wasn't completely silent. And Slash is, as I said, every year, man, complete dead silence allows for more plays to be made in S&D and higher game knowledge in the respawn. Footstep volume is for scrubs. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for making it this far. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy it as well. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.